third MCP, right? Which is basically supposedly the person's knuckles.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna need you to bring your elbow back. Okay.
Why does it look like you turn?
Messed up hands.
He's got bootleg fingers.
Okay.
He's got bootleg hands.
They are turned. That's crazy.
He was open.
They've all been
Really?
dislocated at one point.
Yeah, we should
With the
evaluate
finger
them.
jam.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you dislocated all of them?
Let's knock
Not,
the table from the
well, different
knock on
places.
wood.
What?
These are messed up.
Playing football.
Oh yeah, that one. This one.
Boxing.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Flipped all the way. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Boys.
Enough.
Boys will be boys, right?
Okay.
Okay, marker. Notice where it is on the lateral side, right? Lateral side of the
Yeah.
body. Cool.
The body. Yep.
All right, cool. Our oblique. Again, you want to use a 45-degree sponge. Okay. You want the fingers separated because we're doing the hand. There should be no soft tissue overlap. You'll have a real sponge that's actually a little bigger than this for 45. This is only for the fingers. We don't have a bigger one to use.
Do we have to use a sponge?
Yes, because the person trying to have them hold this up in a 45-degree angle is going to be hard. Because they're going to bring it down. They're not going to be able to maintain a 45 because they don't even know what that is. So the oblique for the hand, you're thinking about the hand, the lateral, fan lateral. The way you spread your fingers just now was for a fan lateral.
Well, this would be an oblique, right?
Yeah, but
So-
is that 45? How do we know? Well, hopefully it is. But do you think the person can hold that? Any person. Maybe they can, maybe they cannot. You don't want to take a chance that they cannot, and then this continues to drop, or they bring it up just too much.
If they're
'Cause then
coming in for a
it's gonna be
hand,
more superimposed, or it's gonna be not completely open, the metacarpals. So the further back you go, you superimpose them. The more you bring them down, they're not superimposed enough.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that you try and get a sponge. Now, again, we don't really use the sponge. Like I said, most places you're going to go, nobody's got time for this. So what they do, and which is different, remember I mentioned there was another one where we do to look at the hand, but we're looking at the metacarpals, right? Because the palm of the hand, that's where the hand is. These are phalanges, right? The hand is the metacarpals. And there's an exam that's done where only your fingertips remain on the image receptor. So place your hand down, palms down. Now what I want you to do is I want you to slightly elevate all of your hand, just to keep your fingers on there. Exactly.
That's the fan.
No, it's not a fan, this is just a hand, an oblique hand. But this is to specifically look at the metacarpals. When we do the other one, when we have it on a 45-degree sponge, we're looking at all of the finger digits, which is why they need to be straight, and that's why it's gonna be on a bigger sponge. You would use the 45, and it needs to be this way, so that we can see all of the joints here and everything here. Now when we do this, we're no longer looking at the digits here because they're closed, because they're angled downward. So our interest is this. That's why we elevate just the hand and leaving only the fingertips attached supposedly. So you just have them this way, and you can even do it for them if you felt like it. And I usually just demonstrate, I'm like, I just want you to go from this position, I want you to just elevate your hand, leaving only your tips of your fingers on the board, is what I usually tell them. Okay, and it should, it's almost, or you could tell them to make an okay sign, that's another thing, right? And then I just separate the fingers for them. I'm like, you can make an okay sign for me? Everybody can do that, I don't care what language you speak, I'm like, hey, let's do this. Okay, separate those fingers, and it should be where you want it. As long as you're centered to the third MCP. Cool. Got a little room for collimation there. Does that make sense? Okay, you good?
yeah, so 1 inch below the ulnar.
Ulnar styloid,
Styloid,
which
yeah.
we know the radius comes all the way down here. Your ulnar styloid is here.
Okay,
So you want to be, yeah, because this is 2 inches for me. So I only want to
Okay.
be an inch, so it's anywhere between 1.5 fingers for me.
okay.
Okay. Now, we have 2 laterals. We have straight lateral, which is done for foreign objects. Thumb, you want to be placed. They tell you, again, 90 degrees, but again, nobody's spreading their thumb to go 90 degrees. But you know it for the test. Okay, so you just have to relax it. Yeah, you can always feel when somebody's not relaxed. Just relax it to the thumb is parallel to the image receptor. Okay. Now you're centering to the second metacarpal phalangeal joint. Okay. So the others, when we did the hand, we're at the third MCP. When you do a lateral, it changes because your central ray is hitting the second one. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Cool too?
So
Cool?
if this is centered on the parallel line, that's, the shadow is centered on the parallel line, that's how you know the thumb is actually in the parallel.
No. You look at the position of the hand and know that it's parallel. So you should look and see that it's flat, it's parallel. Is
It's
that,
parallel across the
Oh,
square.
okay, now I know what you mean.
yeah, parallel to
Okay.
the image receptor, they're on the same plane going flat.
Okay.
There we go. Good. All right, so now when we do the fan lateral, again, I usually always tell my patients to make this okay sign. So you can make it this okay sign for me. You can always spread 3 fingers. Now I just turn their wrist where I want it. But when they do this, see how his list, like his fingers, he's not maintaining it. So then this is when I assist them, if necessary. Because we tell a person to okay, when they turn it lateral now, it tends to, it goes backwards. They can't usually maintain it. And then I still continue to just separate the rest of their fingers. Okay. Again, they're centered still to the second MCP. Should be.
Shouldn't
If not, but you just move your hand up or down wherever you need it, left or right, but maintain the position.
Shouldn't the pinky be straight?
As straight as it can be. I mean, you can't bring it all the way back even more because the patient may not be able to maintain that. So they can only hold what they're going to hold. There's nothing to help them unless we have a step ladder wedge, which I don't know. I've never seen one in my life.
Really?
I know it exists, but I've never
we
seen
got
one.
one at our place.
See, well, y'all lucky.
I think what I'm
You can
saying
relax,
is,
babe.
when you're like this is a lateral, right? And your pinky is like that. So I'm just saying, like, can we try to keep the pinky, does the pinky have to be straight and then these all be fanned out? Like,
No, they just all need to be separated. So yes, it should be in a lateral because every finger should be in a lateral position. They're just lateral and spread out. So yes, your pinky should be straight, if that's what your question is.
And then straight lateral.
Because it should be straight, but you just want them spread out. So it doesn't have to be like 100% boom at a 90-degree angle to, I don't even know, nothing really. It's actually on a 0-degree plane. So you don't need it to be 100% extended this way, like all outward. Because again, the person may not be able to maintain it. That's probably all they can do. So it's not going to be straight in that sense. You just want to make sure that they are in a lateral position. They themselves, each of these digits need to be on their side. Okay. On their side, how do you know that this person is not oblique? And that's another thing you want to know. It's because you'll see the base of the digit. They should be superimposed on each other. So if you're looking at his picture,
Oh,
like
okay.
it's hard to see, but they are superimposed. Or you can look at the more proximal portion. They will all be superimposed as opposed to, do you have an oblique one here?
Yeah, it's a couple slides.
See? See how they're not superimposed? They don't look like they're literally sitting on top and bottom like two knots. In this picture, if you look at the proximal portion, it looks like a wide club.
Mm-hmm.
Here, it looks like a big knot,
yeah.
right? It doesn't look like that big spread out club like we looked at the first time. That's how you know whether you had the person rotated properly or not. Because if they fall their hand back down, now you just created another oblique.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now you gotta do it again because that's not what they wanted. Okay, so again, you'll always be able to see it, which is why I like the person sitting at the edge of the table, because no matter which way they're facing, whether they're facing backwards or forwards, I can still see them. I can see their hands. I can see if it falls down. If it falls down, I'm like, hey, I gotta come back in here. I'm like, hey, I need you to hold that. Try to hold that real tight. You know, try to run back. You can relax. You still holding it, so good. Okay. Everybody cool with that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. AP oblique lateral. Boom. What's next? The
it's-
wrist?
No, it says eight.
Oh, the ball catchers. Okay. Thank you. All right. So this one,
We don't need to know the lateral flexion hand, right? Or, because it's not bolded, but,
no.
okay.
No. You don't need to know that one.
Okay, so ball
Not for
catcher.
this, anyway. Yeah. So the ball catchers, this one is going to deviate. So now the person's not sitting at the side of the table in this manner. He's going to sit at the side of the table, basically. I don't even know what.
Straight.
Yeah. A 0-degree plane. So you'll tell the patient to turn and face the entire table. Could you mind getting the other 45 sponge in there for me, Tiffany? If you open the door, yeah. Thank you. Okay. This one, you don't need this right now. You're gonna place your 45-degree sponges at the edge of the cassette. You're gonna use the entire cassette, and it has to be crosswise. Don't try and collimate. Don't do it. Use the entire cassette. There's no time for collimation here. Okay? I usually put my marker on ahead of time, so that way I'm not worried about it. You could put both on. Sometimes some places do that. They put both the right and the left. I don't know why, but whatever they do. Okay? You tell the person to put their hands in the center. I want both of your hands together, like you're praying. Okay? Now I want you to lay them down flat on this. Okay? Now, here, you just spread the fingers out as much as you can. Okay? Not, I don't want these two touching though. They can't be kissing. Okay? The central ray should, again, be in the center of your image. I mean your cassette, because there's no way to actually touch either. The thing is, it needs to be at the center and at the level of the MCP. So I'm not at the level of the MCP. I'm in the palm, almost the palm of his hands. So I'm going to cheat right now. I'm just going to recenter. Actually, no. I see what I mean. Just bring your arms back. Good. There we go.
He looks so uncomfortable.
Well, it's not very comfortable because you're on a 10 by 12. So it's kind of tight. But again, most patients, they'll be arthritic. So you won't even really need to spread their hands out. Their hands will already be arthritic.
The
like
hands
this.
is not
But
even
you want to
what
spread
hurts,
them.
it's the back.
But you don't want them touching. You don't want their hands to be cupped and all together. You want them to be slightly spread out a bit. It is.
And then like he's like kind of not sitting on the table.
Yeah, yeah, he's not 100% straight. But it's still uncomfortable trying to hold like this. Like, it's
That's
like-
the third MCP, so?
no, so it should be at the level of the MCP.
Oh, level of
Yeah, so just at the level of the metacarpophalangeal joints. Cool. Our norrgard method.
That's like the PHS of this chapter. I want that one.
Mhm. Cool.
That one?
That one.
Oh my goodness.
So it's like
No.
the PA of the, it actually, yeah, you don't have to column it or nothing, you just boom, boom, boom.
True. I
Right,
guess in that
open,
sense.
Boom. Like a marker.
Cool.
Okay, PA wrist.
All right, our wristband. Boom, we're back.